What is up, Geeks and Geekettes? It's another edition of the Countdowns to the Geekcast. My name is Ted A.K. Steady. Joining me in his blood red room is the one and only Super Dave.
What's up, everyone?
Dude, that room is, we've already talked about it, very Last Jedi-esque. Tell us what you're doing with your new man cave, sir.
I guess it kind of is a man cave. Even though I think my wife is actually decorating it. She has like all these ideas and stuff, which is shocking because she doesn't want to have anything to do with Star Wars at all. She's not a fan of Star Wars, and of course, I host a Star Wars the podcast. But yeah, she said this room in our house is bigger, and she was like, "You got so much stuff, you might as well move to the next room." I had so much stuff on shelves and just everywhere on the floor. And now it's all in our loft. And as you can see, my walls are bare. I kind of want to put in some floating shelves and put up some stuff that didn't fit on the previous shelves that I had up on the wall, and do some different things. Have some helmets floating and some pops on the wall and that type of thing. But yeah, this is where I'm going to podcast out of. Luckily, I had another spare bedroom, so yeah, just painted the walls. Last Jedi red.
Absolutely. We got a fantastic show for you guys. It's going to be very Marvel focused because, as some of you have heard, the teaser trailer for the Fantastic Four First Steps dropped early this morning. And we'll probably talk a little bit in advance about the presentation that Marvel did, what worked, what didn't work. One of our friends was actually hosting it, which was fantastic. Shout out to Angelique, who I'll talk about here in a minute. My dog just scared the hell out of me. And we'll also talk about some other stuff that's been happening. We've been a part of some really cool activities recently. And we're going to be a part of some really cool activities coming up this weekend, which I cannot wait to talk about. So you guys stick around, don't go anywhere. First, of course, is all about the geeky weekly headlines, and this first one is actually near and dear to my heart because it is all about the Goonies. I'm going to bring it up here on the second screen. Goonies cast, and this is from People Magazine. Ki Hui Kwan got to put his hand and footprint ceremony over there in Hollywood, and to come out and support him were his Goonies cast members, including our good friend Josh Brolin. I say our good friend, but we've only met him once. But Josh Brolin, Jeff Cohen, Kerry Green, Corey Feldman, and of course director Chris Columbus. Who, if you didn't know, it was Chris Columbus who directed the Goonies. He's also directed like Home Alone. He's also directed Adventures in Babysitting. Like Chris Columbus has directed some of the all-time classics of the 80s and 90s, and we do not praise that man enough. So, Dave, your thoughts on not only Kei Hui Kwan getting his hand and footprint ceremony in Los Angeles, but also being joined by the Never Say Die Goonie castmates.
Totally warmed my heart to see all the cast of everyone that showed up for the Goonies, from Brolin to the lawyer there, Chunk, to Corey Feldman. It would have been cool if Sean Astin showed up, but not quite sure what he's doing these days.
We know because did you see him with me at Fantastic Fest? I can't remember if you were there when he was there.
No.
So he was at Fantastic Fest for like 2 or 3 days. They were re-releasing one of his movies, um, and he had like the worst, rudest bodyguard you can imagine.
Oh,
And I was just trying to talk to the kid. He's older than me. I was just trying to talk to the guy for like a second. I was going to talk to him about Lost Boys because I've interviewed some of his castmates from Lost Boys, and his bodyguard was like, "Hey, no more photos or pictures." I'm like, "I don't even got a camera out. I'm just gonna talk to the guy." And lo and behold, like first time I didn't see him, it didn't go well. Second time, actually, I got a chance to talk to him for like a few seconds, and that was it pretty much. But yeah, I'm excited that Ki Hui Kwan is actually been honored in Hollywood. I think it's super amazing because he's got such a great story to go away from entertainment for 30 years and to come back with a vengeance. I think is incredible. It's something that needs to be talked about more often. And if you're one of the lucky ones, we had a contest to go see an advanced screening of his new film Love Hurts, which drops. Well, the screening is tomorrow. I'm pretty sure all the advanced screening pass is already done, but we cannot wait. I am super excited. It looks like it's a fun action flick. It looks like it's hilarious as well. He's portraying two different characters. I believe he has a twin brother that's evil in this one, if I'm not mistaken. Or actually, no, I'm gonna get this wrong. He either has an evil twin brother or he's just playing two different personas. He has got like a kind of a gangster or like evil organized crime persona, and he's also trying to be this like real estate kind of nerdy ish person. So we cannot wait. For those of you who got tickets, be sure to show up early, right? At least an hour and a half, 2 hours early, because these advanced screenings usually sell out, and it is free, but they usually all the seats get taken pretty early. And if you were not lucky enough to grab one of these seats, we already have some additional movies cooking that we're kind of waiting on getting final details on. So be sure to be on the lookout for the next advanced screening from the Countdown to the Geeks, because we got some really big movies on the horizons. And as soon as summer hits, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong, because we got so many blockbusters dropping this year. It's going to be pretty exciting. But yeah, congrats to Ki Hee Kwan for the ceremony, and cannot wait to see his movie. We will have a review like ASAP. As soon as we get the chance to, we're going to talk all about it. I cannot wait. Let's talk about some events happening, because there are some ongoings this weekend, and I want to be sure that we kind of talk about them a little bit here. So the first of which is dun, 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 MegaCon, Orlando. Um, Dave and a few of the Countdown City Geeks members are going to be flying to Orlando this weekend for MegaCon Orlando, which has an incredible lineup, and so I know they're very excited. So if you haven't already heard about it, if you're in the Orlando or surrounding area, do check it out. And also, Dave, can you tell us exactly what you'll be doing or where you're going to be located in case anybody wants to stop by?
Yes, we will be located at the two Legion Sabers booths. One is going to be by the Hasbro setup, I believe, and the other one is going to be by the Star Wars section. So just check us out there. It'll be me and Colin. We'll be around, and come approach us if you see us. Say hi. We got some swag for you. If you if you find us out there. So yeah, we'll be there all 3 days. Or all 4 days, I believe, right?
6, 7, 8, 9.
Thursday,
Yep.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Yep. 4 days. So yeah, two different chances. And also, if you're going, definitely check out the Legion Sabers booths. They make the absolute best quality lightsabers like around. Dave can tell you, Colin can tell you, they own a few, and they're just super great quality. They're like spar ready. Like there's a lot of lightsaber companies that are like, yeah, you could spar with them, and then the minute you try, something doesn't work anymore. They don't light up anymore. Something gets cracked or broken, and you don't want to worry about that. Legion sabers are super high quality. They're so durable. And so if you're in the Orlando area, please go check out MegaCon Orlando this weekend. You will not be disappointed. Anyone you're like really excited to see over there in MegaCon Orlando, Dave?
So Manny Jacinto just got announced that he's showing up. So he played Chimere, the
Right.
stranger, in the Acolyte, and he is like, he did a tremendous job on that show, whether you liked it or not. He was a great dark side user. He had the really cool helmet and the gauntlet made out of cortosis that could go up against lightsabers and short them out. He's also going to be at Celebration Japan too, so I actually have
Hmm.
two chances to actually kind of run into him, which is exciting.
I love it. I love it. And for those of you who are going to remain in San Antonio this weekend, an event that I've been a part of multiple times, I enjoy it every year. It's the fourth annual Love at First Bite. It's sort of a Valentine's Day horror market. It's all like zombie focused. In the past, they've had some really great celebs. I don't know if they're doing any big celebrity names this weekend, but it's definitely worth checking out. It's a free event. It's free parking. It's all done at the Wonderland of the Americas, which is around the corner of IH10 and 410. You can't miss it. And there's a lot of great vendors. There's going to be a zombie lookalike contest for cash and trophies. So you're going to want to check it out. Lots of collectibles, lots of great artists. Like I mentioned, just go. And if there's also so much going on around it, there's like so many, there's like an arcade entertainment attraction like that's in the mall now. You could also go to Dave and Buster's afterwards, which is right next door. So make it a day, take the family. It's a lot of fun, and like I mentioned, I've gone every year. And it's a blast. I wish they were bringing some of the Walking Dead cast that they've had in the past, but I understand people get busy. It's sort of a busy time of year, especially for conventions around the area. So I totally get it. Not this weekend, but in 2 weeks is going to be the Retro City Game Fest at Ingram Park Mall, near the Dillard's department store. All Mortal Kombat themed. The original cast members, including Daniel Pineda, who we spoke with the other day, are going to be in attendance. We're talking the original Mortal Kombat 90s video game cast. No, it wasn't done with computer graphics or like animation or anything like that. They were the actual like body stand-ins. They were photographed, and all the animation was done with their actual photograph pictures. They're an incredible cast. They're so cool to talk to, and it's going to be fantastic. They've also done multiple projects. So a few of the cast members, they haven't just done Mortal Kombat. They've been in a lot of other movies that you might have seen. So definitely worth checking out. by going to the Retro City Game Fest, Ingram Park Mall, February 22nd and 23rd. Again, free event. You're not gonna have to pay for parking or anything like that. It'll be a blast. And also, if you're any good at Mortal Kombat, there will be a tournament for prizes. So you're going to want to enter into that. For more information, I highly recommend you go to Retro City on Facebook to get more details about the event as well as that Mortal Kombat tournament. You any good at Mortal Kombat, Dave?
I got average when I used to play a lot when I was a little kid on the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo there. But arcade, yeah, I was never great with the arcade cabinets with the joystick and all that. But I mean, I love the game. I've played it hours and hours and hours on console, but I love the whole concept. I love the whole history. I love the lineage. I love the story behind it, all the Easter eggs, all the fatalities, the friendships, and the characters and the story. And it seems to be a franchise that has kept its legs. And I'm eagerly anticipating the new film with Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. I think that's going to be interesting.
That is going to be interesting. And I mentioned earlier, we recently interviewed Daniel Pacina, who played the original Johnny Cage, also Sub Zero, also
Scorpion,
Scorpion. That's right.
Reptile, Nuke
And
Saibot,
also Reptile. That's right.
Smoke.
So he played those four, and he did play Smoke. Or was it Noob? I think he played Cybot in the second one. Um, but he, what was I going with that? He also played one of the Foot Clan in TMNT 2,
Mm.
and he also talks about how Liu Kang also played Raphael in Ninja Turtles. So like these guys are amazing, and they deserve so much praise because they came up with so much of the concepts and the fighting moves and the powers or the actual look of the characters. We owe so much to the cast of that original game because they didn't get credit for it and they sure as hell did not get paid enough for it. Daniel was talking to us about how for like the first 6 weeks that he was working on the game, the original game, didn't make a cent, didn't get paid whatsoever for it. And it's heartbreaking. It really is. They deserve so much because they were so involved in the creative process. It was so organic for the entire group to sort of come up with things on the fly. I forget her name, but the female who played Sonya Blade came up with friendship fatalities. I was talking to David about that before. She came up with friendship fatalities, and like we don't talk about that enough because not everybody knows about that. So go check out the cast. They're fantastic. Get some photos, get some autographs, and if you're any good at Mortal Kombat, go join the tournament. All right, last thing to talk about, and then we'll get on to the topic of the night, which is the Fantastic Four trailer and all the presentations that Marvel did earlier. This past weekend was a huge event. It was a multi-day event. Our good friend Ernie Hudson was in San Antonio for the entire weekend. He is been named the new ambassador for the Puppy Food Bank. This is a charity organization that raises money in order to provide food to no-kill shelters as well as families who adopt dogs across the U.S. So, if you're a shelter, a rescue shelter for dogs and canines, and you have a no-kill rule, you're strictly there for the benefit and the betterment of dogs and canines. This organization provides food straight from the Chewy organization or the Chewy company at no cost to the shelter and no cost to families who adopt dogs, which is an incredible mission for an organization to have. So Ernie Hudson was in town this past weekend to raise money for this group, and he asked the Ghostbusters of San Antonio to help in this mission. So we put on our proton packs, we strapped up our boots, and we pretty much took over the event this past weekend, and we came out strong. Let me tell you, it wasn't just us. We invited all of our friends. 11 total Ghostbuster chapters from all over Texas converged on San Antonio to help raise funds for this mission. I They raised thousands of dollars. I'm not sure what the total figure is. They raised thousands of dollars. We ourselves had a raffle for this little guy right here. We raised a few $100s in our raffle. Winner will be announced tomorrow. And all that to say, it was a wonderful time. We had a blast. Ernie was just incredible as always. He's literally one of the best celebs with fans. If you haven't met him before and you're a fan of him in Ghostbusters or The Crow or any of his films, you need to go meet the man because he's so down to earth. He's so genuine. He's just the nicest guy. And he held a press conference yesterday for the announcement. We covered the press conference. You want to see that video? You can watch it right after this stream on countdowncitygeeks.com. You can find the entire press conference there. You can also catch my one-on-one interview with the legend himself, with Ernie Hudson. I talked to him about this past weekend's events, the fans, exactly, what it means to him for people to be doing charity work in the Ghostbusters name. But that's why we do this. All these folks in this picture, we do this because we want to help our communities, and we do it with the passion and the love of Ghostbusters. So go check out the article on countdowntothegeeks.com to see the entire press conference, as well as my interview with the legend Ernie Hudson. And you might be wondering what you can do at home to help. Is that what you're wondering, Dave?
That's exactly what I'm wondering.
I thought it was.
I'm also thinking about barbecue now. So
Barbecue was good. So if you want to get involved, you're not in the San Antonio area, but you still want to help this organization, there's two different ways to do it. Number one, if you are in San Antonio or surrounding areas, you can visit any Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, make a $10 contribution. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get $15 for free in barbecue, and you're going to get 2 free drinks on your next visit. The entire thing is $22 value, which, why wouldn't you want that? Free food in this economy, in this state with our high property taxes, is always it's always good to get something for free. So help out the organization. All proceeds will benefit the Puppy Food Bank, and you can visit any participating Rudy's locations in order to help. If you are not in San Antonio or the surrounding areas, and if you don't have a Rudy's in your hometown, you can go to puppyfoodbank.org, and you can be a sponsor, a reoccurring sponsor, or you can just make a one-time donation. If this is a cause that's near and dear to your heart, make a one-time donation, help out this organization, feed hungry pets across the U.S., to shelters that have a no-kill rule, as well to families who adopt pets. What a glorious cause.
yeah, I mean Rudy's barbecue. That's my favorite barbecue. I love dogs. I have 4 of them that roam around my house. So yeah, that's fantastic, man.
The Bob 0448 is on YouTube joining us. Said, Ted, just saw your interview with Ernie Hudson. That not be your first time meeting him, was it? It was not. Dave's laughing because he knows it's ridiculous. I've interviewed Ernie.
Ted is
That
close
might
friends with Ernie Hudson. Let's put it that way.
I've I've been fortunate enough to interview Ernie 12 times, I think is the number now.
Oh my gosh.
He comes to San Antonio a lot. I've moderated his panels whenever he does conventions here, and then anytime he's visiting, I sit down for a one-on-one interview. So I've interviewed Ernie a lot, and even if it is your first time meeting him, he's gonna treat you like you've been friends all your life. He's just that great of a human being, and he was nice enough. I have this great afterlife model. Yeah, he was nice enough to autograph this. So now this is like one of my
Wow.
favorite pieces now. Just it looks great, and I know people don't like the Afterlife car that much, but I'm like, I love it. I love the way it looks. There's so much detail in this, and now it has Ernie's autograph on it. So appreciate you, the Bob 0448. Appreciate you watching the interview. And were you in town? Did you get a chance to meet Ernie? Let us know. What was your experience like? We're also going to have a stream probably tomorrow with some of the Ghostbuster chapters that came down to San Antonio and just asked them about their experience. For a lot of groups, for a lot of teams, it was their first time meeting Ernie, and everybody just had a blast. We just had a great time. CJ says, thanks for the invite, fam. Definitely donated. Well done, sir. Kid had a blast. And CJ, I did see you, but I didn't see you in line. I think I had to leave before you got in line. Yeah, tell us more about your experience. What did you get autographed, or just what else did you do? The Ecto was on site as well. We had a Ghostbusters Ecto 1 on site, and we had to soak it in because it's hard to say this. The owner of the car that's in San Antonio is going to sell it soon. We're like, so we got like 2 more months with it before whoever know. I don't know who's going to take it, but these cars are going for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there's no there's no chance that they're going to let me buy it with like 100,000 payments. So it is gonna be one of the last times we get to hang out with the Ecto One in San Antonio, which is it is unfortunate, but I guess we can't be selfish, right? Somebody else is gonna own it. Maybe it goes to another state, another team gets to enjoy it. So we'll see how that goes. CJ says I was leaving when you got there. LOL. Oh, okay, okay. That explains it then. Yeah, I got there late one day. Man, you must have been there early. But yeah, tell us about either what you got signed or just your experience with Ernie, man. Whew. Yeah, so please help out. Help out if you get a chance to. Um, Shout out to all the teams that came down. Again, they were amazing. The Bayou City Ghostbusters from Houston gave me a patch. The Austin Ghostbusters gave me a patch. Our friends to the north, the Yellow Rose Ghostbusters, these guys are just so fancy with their logo on it. I'm like, God, why haven't I thought of that? Yeah, a bunch of people gave us gifts, and then we just had an amazing time. So shout out to all the teams that came down, and yeah, check out the interview with Ernie if you haven't done so already. Okay, let's talk about the Fantastic Four first steps event, as well as the teaser trailer. First thing I'm going to do is talk a little bit about the presentation and the event, because I think there was some miscommunication. Right, the first thing that we have to discuss is that Marvel had put out, this teaser for the teaser, saying our live coverage, keyword being coverage, will begin at 7 a.m. Eastern. So immediately I'm thinking like, oh God, I have to wake up at 6 for this thing. And then to make it worse, if you're on the West Coast, your thoughts are like, oh my God, I have to wake up at 4 a.m. for this thing. Lo and behold, everybody woke up early, even the folks on the West Coast. And did they wake up to a teaser? They did not. What they woke up to was a live 1 hour countdown to the teaser. So everything was an hour later. So unfortunately, folks were upset. They were like, you gotta be joking. I woke up at 4 or 5 or 6 and the trailer doesn't come out for an additional hour. Marvel, what were you thinking? To their credit, defending Marvel, they said the live coverage starts at that time. The trailer was going to drop at that time. And I know that feels like semantics or whatever, but like they didn't say the trailer was dropping at that time. Dave, what do you think?
I got extremely lucky because our pug um, was like whimpering in bed because he wanted to go outside to use the restroom. So I got up at just the right time. I let him out. He came back in. I jumped back in bed. I opened up my phone and I saw these people talking about it. And then I went to the live feed. And right as I clicked it, it went from the countdown screen right into Angelique talking. And I was like, this is perfect timing. So I just stayed awake. And I was like, okay, it's this is wonderful. The Marvel gods are looking down on me today.
Yeah, I didn't even like set my alarm for anything earlier. I just told myself, you know what? I'm just gonna wake up my regular time that I do, which is like 8ish for work. And lo and behold, like, caught it, got to watch the whole thing. And I was actually, I thought it was kind of cool. I think not everybody was impressed with the presentation, but if you missed it, Marvel Studios was in Huntsville, Alabama. There's this Space and Rocket Museum. Correct? Am I saying that right? Space and Rocket Museum up
I don't know
there.
the proper name, but yeah, that's essentially what it is. The U.S. Space and Rocket Museum.
There you go. Space and Rocket Center is what it was. U.S.
Uh,
Space and Rocket Center. So this is part of the
yeah,
video. They went out there,
took place right
and
there. Yeah, right underneath the Saturn V rocket.
there you go. And they had a live crowd go out there. You can see
It
them
was
now.
kids. It was like tweens.
And our good friend, my good friend Angelique Roche was the host for the event, and I was so thrilled for her, and I shouldn't be surprised that it was her because she kind of hosts a lot of different Marvel events and hosts a lot of different Marvel panels at like different conventions. So like, yeah, I shouldn't be surprised, but it was just so great to see her there. She looked amazing in her jumpsuit and her white boots, which is very similar to the Fantastic Four outfits in the trailer. And she got to hang out with the entire cast. She asked a few questions, and then they got to do a countdown. And at the end of the countdown, was the actual real launch of the teaser trailer. So, just real quick, shout out to Angelique. Last time we hung out was in San Diego last July. I got to watch her do her thing at the Marvel booth, and she's just a class act, and she's just so knowledgeable. And she just wrote her first comic. She wrote a Storm X-Men comic. And I'm just like, I can't even imagine how amazing she must feel to come out with her first comic book. Oh, and it's a Storm comic book from the X-Men. So she's living her best life. She's killing it this year, and yeah, so super happy for her. And I think that's just so exciting. Be on the lookout for that Storm comic book, Storm #1 on shelves. I want to say if it didn't come out last week, it's going to come out maybe this week. Don't quote me on that, but ask your local comic store for Storm #1, written by Angelique Roche. All right, so this is the part of the countdown. It's cool that everybody got hats,
Yeah,
and
I want one of those hats, man.
so do I.
Hey, you got a fan at Comic Con, so
What did you?
I'm
Oh, that's
still sore
true.
about that.
What happened to yours? You lost your ticket or
So
something?
no, they said tickets were for the audience, and then they didn't give press tickets. And of course, I got this big old press badge on me, and the woman that was handing out that we walked like 2 miles for to get, my feet were like on fire. And she was like, "If you don't have a ticket and you're press, it was only the people in attendance getting these." And it was like a fan to fan yourself, and it had the logo, First Steps, and the new Fantastic Four logo. And she basically told me to my face, "No, you're not getting one." And I'm like, you have boxes upon boxes upon boxes. A lot of these people aren't going to walk the 2 miles we walked to get this stuff. But yeah, you had a ticket because I think you said one fell on the ground or something. So you were able to cash in. So
Well, they were trying to make it seem like media shouldn't get any of the giveaways, but
media, the biggest fans.
there's not, for anybody who goes to San Diego, like media sits wherever there's open seats. And we don't get first dibs, so don't get that twisted. We don't get first dibs on seating. We just sit wherever's open. And so when they're passing out giveaways or redeemable tickets for giveaways, you get one like everybody else does. So she shouldn't single you out, and I don't know why that happened. But okay,
He was
so
very like staunch.
I can't imagine that they give those away to, I don't know, wait, maybe volunteer. No, because I volunteered for San Diego 3 years in a row, and they didn't save like giveaways for us. So I don't know where those giveaways go to. Maybe they give them back to the studios. I have no idea. Okay, so this part, I don't think they actually showed this during the presentation. There was a second part to the event, which was, I believe, a live audience showing of the teaser trailer. So why don't we see what else happened after the camera stopped rolling? Here we go.
Marvel's first family.
Thank you so much for being here with us today and seeing it for the first time with all of us. Now we'd love to see it again on the big screen. Would you like to do that? I'm sorry. Would you guys like to do that?
We'd love to do that.
We want to do it.
That wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here. Yeah. Best looking, you mean?
Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, and you know what? You did mention that it was all kids, so they must have either gotten a school district to go out there, or maybe it's some sort of like STEM school.
Feels like
And
it, yeah.
yeah, which is really great. I'm glad they did that. And
I mean, yeah, that early in the morning, I mean, only kids could be that hyped up that early in the morning. But then again, I mean, if you have the actual cast of a Marvel film, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Evan Moss Backrack, if they watched Andor and The Bear.
right. All right. I'm trying to find. Oh, okay. Here it is. All right. So that was the presentation. Again, I thought it was really cool. It was at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center over there in Huntsville, Alabama. They got either a school or a district to kind of head out there. They gave everybody, looks like shirts, everybody hats in the crowd. And then again, shout out to our friend Angelique, who moderated the entire event, hosted the entire event. She's the best. She's so great at what she does, and we could only hope, guys like me and Dave can only hope to be like half as good as her as what she does. I don't know how she does it every single time, but she's just so eloquent, she's so intelligent, and she's just one of the best people. She's so nice. You know who she's so nice with? Last time I saw her, she was in San Antonio last summer for superhero Comic Con, and my daughter had the best time with her. Angelique thought my daughter was adorable and just so smart, and they were having conversations. And every time my daughter would say something, Angelique would look at me and she'd go, "She's smart." And I'm like, "Thanks." She doesn't get that from me.
Come
She
on,
gets
Ted.
that from her mama. So yeah, no, shout out to Angelique. I immediately sent her a message like, "Oh my god, it's so cool." And so yeah.
Yeah, I took her selfie with her at I think Superhero Comic Con when she was
Yeah?
there. When I think right after she did the panel with after she did the She-Hulk panel. So yeah,
Tatiana. Yeah, with
yeah,
Tatiana. Very cool. All right, here we go. Fantastic Four teaser trailer. This is going to be, not we've seen it before, so it's not like an instant reaction, but we are going to talk about some of the key points and everything else. So here we go, and please, for those of you watching right now, join us in the chat. What are your favorite parts about the teaser trailer? Give us some of your fan theories. I know this is going to be one of those movies where it's a huge sort of pivot in the Marvel timeline. I know we're in a sort of a separate universe here, but this is going to have major ramifications. At least that's what we're being told, and it's about time because everybody's been enjoying the movies and the series that are sort of self-contained. They're not really interconnected. There's no connective tissue there. But enough of that. Let's get back to what we got excited about regarding Marvel, and that is the connective tissue. That is the greater universe. That is, the bigger stakes and all that good stuff. So here we go. The Fantastic Four First Steps teaser trailer. Oh man. And we've already mentioned this is a separate universe. It looks very much like Tomorrow World, the Disney sort of Epcot attraction.
yeah, very
Yep.
retro.
First look at Herbie. He looks incredible.
Yeah, having the, like the tape to tape reels as his eyes is such a
It's a
genius move.
very George Lucas sort of idea, if you ask me. Something
Yeah.
always.
And getting to see the Thing as like the first actual character here is
Yep.
awesome, and he just looks fantastic.
So this is not supposed to be an origin story, but we're clearly seeing some flashbacks of Ben being Ben before he's transformed. You see him in his feelings there, so I'm glad they're actually having some sort of a character arc within these characters, which is good. Uh,
Yeah, the Human Torch
yep,
actually had flame retardant clothing, so he just doesn't burn off his clothes every time.
that's a great shot, and a lot of fan theories on what that could be. Those sort of falling meteors in the sky.
Yeah.
John
Then
Malkovich,
John
being
Malkovich,
John Malkovich, and of
and of course the shot of
course
Galactus.
Galactus. Yes, sir. All right. We're going to get into some of the chat. We're also going to get into some of these photos here. Retro Rays in the chat saying the blackboard looks like Mr. Fantastic is working on a wormhole. And yes, this is a very popular theory. These are some of the high res stills that Disney released to the press. So you actually will see smaller versions of these online. I don't know if anyone's kind of shared the big versions, but here's one of the entire board, and you can clearly see. Let me kind of put our pictures here somewhere. You can clearly see right above me, you're kind of seeing what looks like wormhole drawing straight above me. And then, yes, a lot of folks are calling out kind of diagonal from me right now is sort of an entry and an exit point of either a wormhole or what a lot of folks are saying is interdimensional travel. And that's gonna.
Yeah, Einstein Rosen bridge
Oh, is that
theory.
what it is?
Yeah, I remember that from watching the Discovery Channel a long time ago. I remember that name. According to Google here, it's a hypothetical structure that connects 2 points in space-time, proposed in 1935 by Albert Einstein and Nathan Rosen.
Very nice, very nice. And if anyone hasn't heard, well, everybody should know who Mr. Fantastic is, but Reed Richards is actually known as the smartest man on the planet. So, or in most cases, the universe. So, um, it's going to be very interesting on what they're going to introduce, why they're introducing interdimensional travel to us for. We know this family is going to get to our, the prime timeline, the sacred timeline eventually, but
Yeah,
what is the
616.
purpose? That's what I'm really curious about. Is it to eventually escape something, some sort of threat, some sort of Galactus level threat? Or maybe they're not using it to escape, but using it for research. Maybe other um, alternative universes have defeated Galactus in those realms, and they're trying to figure out exactly how they accomplished that. Perhaps that's one of the reasons. But a lot of fan theories and speculation going around, and can't wait to find out what the real answer is. Some more pictures here. A better look at that kitchen with the Thing and Herbie. So what's funny, and everybody's kind of making jokes about this, is that the Thing is cooking, and Ibn Mas Baccarat is fantastic in The Bear. I love his character on The Bear. So everyone thinks it's sort of tongue in cheek that he's talking about cooking next to Herbie, and yeah, I like the design because it's so comic book accurate, more comic book accurate than any other thing that's come before him. And so I think there's some folks who either aren't aware of that or they have some other issues with it, but I don't. He looks like he's supposed to look. I don't know why some people have issues with the style or the design of the Thing. He looks great. And yes, he has the full suit on here, but I imagine that later on in the film, he's actually going to get down to like his just regular sort of style with just the sort of the shorts or the bottoms of his character. But yeah, any other thoughts? Any of
Yeah,
this?
I love the retro aesthetic, the 1960s retro aesthetic here.
Yeah, I dig it. It is very Tomorrow World. It's everything.
Very World's Fair.
Yeah.
The future of tomorrow type thing, where they expected this to be the actual future, and in this timeline, it kind of is.
And I love that sort of everything is so clearly reminiscent of the comic books. The vehicle they drive, the ship that we saw in the trailer is actually looks like the ship from Fantastic Four #1. Everything is like very on point to what it was in the comic books, and we need that. We got too far away from it, especially in the last Fantastic Four movie where like Doctor Doom didn't even look like Doctor Doom. The worst Doctor Doom we've ever seen in live action form, if you ask me.
Yeah, and that's all through Kevin Feige that we're getting all this comic book accurate stuff. Because going all the way back to X-Men, they banned the comic books from the set, and he was sneaking them on to get them to Hugh Jackman and make it more comic book like, and getting Wolverine's hair to be more comic book accurate, and it all worked. And they proved it again in Deadpool Wolverine that the suit for Wolverine works. And now Feige has full control of the new Fantastic Four movie, and they're making it as comic book accurate as humanly possible, and it works.
Shot again of Joseph Quinn above the planet, and I'm wondering if this is real or a dream, because if he was using his powers, this isn't the actual Fantastic Four suit yet. So wouldn't it have burned up already? Or unless we're supposed to get told that this is already with the Richards technology in the clothing itself, but maybe it's just a dream sequence of him flying above the planet. And if it is real, is he just doing it or is he actually chasing something? The one thing we did not get in this trailer is our Silver Surfer. And I think that's fine because this is the teaser and they need to save some things for later. And I'm okay with that. Do not give the entire thing away in the first trailer. We need to say some stuff for later. And Julia Gardner, who's playing the Silver Surfer of this universe that we're watching right now, yeah, we're gonna see her later on. Or if they just want to save her until the movie drops, I'm also okay with that too. Ray in the chat says Mike Choi did some cool Marvel Fanatics for cover art. Fantastic Four cover art. Did he really? That's really cool, man. The other things we didn't see Galactus's face. We caught a little bit of that in the San Diego Hall H footage, but really the San Diego footage that we saw, a lot of it wasn't in this trailer. A lot of it looked like it was just promotional video for the film, almost like it was not a parody, but almost like a commercial promotion for the film, but made in the 60s. So I'm actually happy that we didn't get a lot of that because it didn't seem like that wasn't real footage in the movie. This is all clearly real footage in the movie. In case that sounded confusing, during Hall H in San Diego, during the Marvel presentation, we saw what looked like a, what would you call it? An introduction video to Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four. It
Yeah, a lot of like behind the scenes of like getting ready to launch and suiting up to go to outer space and classroom stuff and almost kind of like B-roll type stuff.
very much so like B-roll type stuff. And that's what I mean when I say it didn't seem real. It seemed like they were just making a fake commercial for
hmm
um the Fantastic Four, not the movie, like just the family themselves. And this, none of that footage is in this, from what I can tell. This all seems like it's just real scenes from the film. Looking at Sue Storm here, played by Vanessa Kirby. I like the way they are showing her powers. It's kind of very different
hmm
from what we've seen in the past. No offense to Jessica Alba, who is incredible, but the way they're kind of showing the light refraction and the sort of coloration in her powers, I think is just fantastic. It's very different, and also it's so pleasing to see it that way. So I really can't wait to see how else it looks um, on video or on the big screen. I think it's great, and I think she's great. I've heard like one or two folks having an issue maybe with how she's portrayed in the trailer, and I don't see it. I really don't. I think it's a teaser. We don't have enough to kind of gain any sort of solid opinion on any of their motivations whatsoever. And so I think fans need to kind pump the brakes. Let's get either a longer trailer or just wait till the movie comes out before you start kind of bashing on characters or actors, which is even worse, bashing on actors because they don't write this stuff. They just play what's on the script. They just play what's in the scene. So I think she looks great. She's wonderful. The cast themselves, Pedro and all the way across the board, Joseph, Iban, and her, they talk so much about the chemistry of the cast being great. And I can't imagine that they're just exaggerating because each one of them just seem like such down to earth, genuine people. And so I'm really looking forward to see how they play together on the screen. I just cannot wait for that. Any thoughts on the Sue Storm in this trailer?
I think she totally works. When Vanessa Kirby originally got cast, I wasn't so sure about her casting. I was thinking maybe there was other actresses they probably could have picked before her, but I mean, she's really grown on me a lot, and I'm glad that's happened because the Fantastic Four for me is one of the big pieces to the Marvel story, and one of the first stories that I read cover to cover when I was a kid. And I actually had an audiobook of their origin story that I would listen to, and I really kind of fell in love with that. Those were the days when sometimes my family couldn't afford cable. I'd go back to that audiobook and listen to that and just kind of dream about like the Fantastic Four going on different adventures and going up against different Marvel villains and heroes. And I really have a close attachment to the Fantastic Four. And like I said, I trust Kevin Feige doing handling all of this stuff. So I know what he's going to give us is going to be probably the best possible product that anyone can give us. So I'm very optimistic when he's attached to doing this stuff, and of course he's overseeing all of the MCU.
And I too am excited, mostly because this is being directed by Matt Shackman, who, of course, we all know was a part of
Yep.
WandaVision, which I really love. I just thought it was so different, and it was so smart to kind of have tell the story and the narrative the way they did. He also directed. I don't know. He directed 2 episodes of Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, which you and I both enjoyed. I thought that was another great series. For the folks who complained that there wasn't enough Godzilla in it, you're right, because it was Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. It wasn't Godzilla: Legacy of Monsters. It's more about the origin story of Monarch itself, and it did a lot of really cool stuff with time jumping. So Matt Shackman's he's so talented, and I can't wait to see what he does in this one. Y
Yeah, I trust him as well.
we did not see Paul Walter Hauser. I'm wondering what kind of role he has, because he's not gonna get added to this cast unless he's got something kind of substantial to do, so be very interested to
Right.
see what he's gonna do in this one. Final photo of the official released pictures is the Beatles inspired Fantastic Four presentation. This definitely looks like it's some sort of like talk show, like Ed Sullivan or whatever. But this is literally based on a performance by the Beatles. It's the Beatles on a platform with these arrows all around them, pointing towards them. Literally the same thing. It's just ripping off the Beatles, which I guess is kind of a joke. Um, but yeah, I think they look great because the Beatles were the Fab Four. Fab Four, Fantastic Four, you get it. All right, so they look great. It's the first time we get to see the costumes like all together, head to toe. And I think they work. And they're just again, they don't care. They're just ripping this off the comic book pages. And it worked for Hugh Jackman in Deadpool and Wolverine, and now it's working for the Fantastic Four. Just stick with the comic book and make it work. You can't go wrong by doing that. They look great. Dave, your thoughts on the styling of the characters?
The costuming is great. They pulled it off. It looks like a great interpretation, even down to kind of the minimalist Fantastic Four logo. I mean, you just look at the costumes here. There's different variations between all 4 of them, but it feels like, yes, they are a unified team, and that's exactly what they are. And getting Reed Richards, having Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards. I don't think Pedro Pascal is the first name that comes to mind when you want someone to be a Reed Richards, but it feels like in the trailer that he's pulling it off, man. I mean, he a lot of, some of the people out there are kind of like mad that he has a mustache because Reed Richards never had a mustache, and he's rocking one as as this version of Reed Richards, and I think it works, man. Everything in here, it felt good to me because, I mean, we're like super nerds here, and we know what's going on. This isn't the 616. This is another timeline, so there's a variation on things. The Baxter Building could be Avengers Tower in 616. Really, I mean, it could be a direct kind of like a brother sister type structure in this timeline. But everything feels good, man. I'm excited. This teaser trailer is solid. They look great. The cast is just really growing on me. Comic book accurate thing. I mean, aside from hearing it's clobbering time, everything was pitch perfect, I thought. And we didn't get a flame on either, but we got to see Johnny Storm flying around. And I'm hoping that we get a Super Bowl trailer that's a little bit different, maybe something there. I don't know.
That is a popular theory that this is a teaser and this will be different than what we get on Sunday during the big game. If we do get something additional, I think it's great. Is it a trailer? Is it just more of a promotional video, them making a joke or them, doing something kind of unique? I think that's fine too. I'm fine with not seeing a lot of this movie. Like, keep fans guessing. Don't give away the farm. They're already finding things to be upset with already, and we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, if we get something additional on Sunday, great. If we do not, then I'm fine with that as well. Lakeith Stanfield joked when Julia Gardner was cast as Silver Surfer. He actually had posted on social media, "Wait, I thought I was supposed to be Silver Surfer," or something to that effect. So folks are actually
Hmm.
still wondering if Julia is the Silver Surfer in this Fantastic Four universe, and Lakeith might actually be the Silver Surfer in the 616 universe. Very possible. I can't imagine we're not going to see two, at least two variations of the Silver Surfer. So it just kind of makes sense to me that that's a good possibility. And Ray, when he said Mike Choi did some cool Marvel Fantastic Four cover art, this is what he's talking about. And yes, that looks incredible. I like what we've seen from Galactus, and there was already some folks on our social media page saying, "Wait a minute, why is he so small?" And it's because Galactus is able to change his size at will. He is that powerful. He can be the size of a planet when he wants to be, and he can shrink down to as little as he wants to be for whatever that purpose is. So, in order to actually be on the planet, walk around on the planet, he shrunk himself down to a size that would allow him to do so. That is the reason why he looks small in that last shot. You see the back of his head looking at the Statue of Liberty. So please stop freaking out about everything. Let's just wait until we get something substantial.
Yeah.
And okay, the elephant in the room, right? So a lot of fans were upset with Disney and or Marvel Studios that the posters that were released in conjunction with this launch event looked to be made using artificial intelligence. To that, I say, yeah, probably. It looks like it was done so. Um,
They've denied that.
Marvel did come out, or at least a representative from Marvel came out and said, it's actually not. I don't know what you're talking about. But fans are too um they're noticing that there's just too many like inconsistencies with these posters. You'll find four digits on some of the hands. You'll find similar faces to be on different people. You'll find just position of like different objects in kind of like odd places. And so if it is, I understand that there are folks out there that still have a major problem with AI. I think that if it's just for this launch event, and if the rest of the posters come out and they're utilizing artists and they're paying artists, I have less of an issue with that. I understand if it's just all AI art from here on out, that is sort of like a punch in the gut. So if hopefully they're not lying to us and saying that it really is not AI, or maybe some of it is AI. Is that less of an issue if some of it is AI, and then there's still an artist that comes in and like cleans it up and adds details to it? Like, I don't know. Maybe they actually did pay an artist and the artist used AI. Like, who should we be mad at here? You know what I mean?
I mean, it's it's a topic you have to be sensitive on, but growing well, starting off my adulthood in the technology field, I was told early on, technology, it's gonna take over every single job. So this to me is just like expected, but Yeah, I know you want to pay artists, and there's the human factor in there and everything. But when you said the 4 digits, if you look at the hand that's holding the big 4 flag, it looks like there's a thumb and 3 fingers.
Yeah.
So that might be a little AI Easter egg right there. But yeah, this does look very much like you type in "I want a Fantastic Four" crowd welcoming them back, and this is what AI would produce. So I don't know, man. It's just one of those things now that people are gonna complain about, and it's gonna be like a morality type of issue thing. But I mean, it's all kind of eventual. But
It's also interesting that well, the the thought is meant to be the focus, the emphasis on these posters in the trailer is that they are like a celebrity family. They are the Kardashians
right,
of this planet, and I that may or may not be a good example, but they're on this TV talk show in the spot where the Beatles should be. Like that's how popular they are. They are on the level of the Beatles in the 60s. Like that is what we're meant to take away from the teaser trailer. And all these posters, they all have signs saying we love you. They all have signs of people celebrating them. And that is an interesting thing. Maybe part of the film is that Ben doesn't feel that love potentially. Maybe he feels like the odd one out. He's the Ringo Starr of the group. Um, or maybe, there's a point in the movie where things aren't going to go their way, and sort of the love and admiration, the adoration, goes away either because they go to a different universe and the opposite happens. It'll be interesting. It's so much of an emphasis to put on how loved they are that it's got to mean something. And so I can't wait to see why that is, but it's really exciting.
yeah.
How does Doom come into all this? For anybody who, forgot, we're supposed to get our first look at Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom in this movie, or at least in a mid or end credit scene. But I
Hmm.
feel like he could have some sort of plot. He could be used as some sort of plot device in this film. Like he might be the reason why something happens or somebody comes into the fold, or John Malkovich's character, which is heavily being rumored as Red Ghost by internet scoopers. Um, why maybe he comes into the fold as well. I don't know. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. You know what? My fan theory for all this is that this movie does not end well. This movie ends with Galactus eating this version of Earth. But of course, Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four, they figure out how to get through the wormhole, get to 616, and Doom slides in there as well with them. So Doom is from this timeline, and then Galactus stays behind. But then I think in the future they'll reuse Galactus, and that's what we see in the post credits is Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom showing up in 616, and then it's going to carry over into Avengers Doomsday, and that's how we kind of get the origin of Doom. And maybe there's not that whole magical contingent that Doctor Strange is a part of in this timeline where the Fantastic Four originate from. So Doom is kind of like studying magic, like kind of off grid in a way, and he fuses that with the technology, and that's who he is in Avengers Doomsday.
I dig it. I dig it. So you think that so you're saying that Doom might not be the Doom that we know in this film? He might actually become the Doom that we know and love, like,
No,
afterwards?
no, he is Doctor Doom. He is a quintessential Doctor Doom, but he is in the Fantastic Four's timeline. He's not in 616
Interesting.
yet. But Galactus will eat this planet. Fantastic Four lose. They get away, last ditch effort by going into the wormhole that he created or figured out, and it's kind of like their escape plan, their like plan Z. And if everything goes wrong, fighting Galactus or whatever entity they decide to fight, and then unfortunately, this Earth does get eaten by Galactus, but they escape and they end up in the Avengers timeline. Because we do, I think it's pretty well known that this iteration of the Fantastic Four is going to feature heavily in the next two Avengers films. So you're going to have the smartest man, Reed Richards, helping the Avengers, and it's going to be all out battle. And of course, I mean, they could end up. I mean, who knows what decade they end up in? I guess like technically they would end up in 2025 or 2024 or whatever. But I mean, you would think that Doctor Doom would be preparing things and getting all that stuff ready for like what the Secret Wars comic book had going on. Maybe he recruits other villains or does his thing to set up the whole battle world mega Avengers Secret Wars film where we're theorizing we're going to get different versions of Silver Surfer and Spider-Man and different X-Men, and we get to see Toby and Andrew back and that whole thing. But it's leading to something big, and I'm here for it. It feels like 2019 all over again, where we're going to get to an end game type film, and it's going to be a huge event.
And it all starts hopefully this month with the Captain America Brave New World movie.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. I like seeing Harrison Ford being so passionate about the movie.
Yeah.
Somebody had asked him, what's it like to work with Anthony Mackie, the first black Captain America. And Harrison Ford came out and said, he's not black Captain America. He's just Captain America. When I was working with him, Anthony Mackie was Captain America. It doesn't matter like anything else. He's just Captain America, and that's how Harrison Ford sees it. It's good to see a little more life in Harrison going into this film, and I hope he's got some substantial role in the movie. It looks like he's in a lot of it, so I'm excited for it. And we're 10 days away from it. I'm stoked. Yeah, we're getting close.
Red Hulk, baby.
Red Hulk, and also Giancarlo Esposito. Um, I
Sidewinder.
he's the one that I worry about. I don't want him to just only have 10 minutes in this thing. I really want him to have some substantial not only role in this film but role in the MCU. I don't want this to be a one and done for him. Too many times we see villains here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. Like Ultron, we won't get Ultron back again. We won't get a lot of people back again. Red Skull we thought was gone forever until they finally brought him back in Avengers Infinity War. So yeah, I really hope that this isn't the end for Giancarlo. Shout out to Giancarlo, by the way. I want to see him in multiple films and have a really long lasting legacy in the MCU. Is that too much to ask? Come on, Kevin Feige. Make sure we keep Giancarlo in here for a while, please. Why don't you? All right. Let's see here. Going back to CJ, who had a chance to see Ernie this past weekend, says Ernie was a class act. He signed a picture he took with my son when he came to a con a few years ago. Hey, that's fantastic. A lot of folks in line, I noticed, had photos from, I guess, his convention appearance at Superhero Comic Con in 2024. And yeah, a lot of folks brought those photo ops with them, and he signed those, which is so smart. It's great. And those photo ops, he also did them, a lot of them with the Ecto 1 in the background. That was one of the options. So that was also fantastic. What was also really cool was that we had, in the San Antonio group, we had 3 members that needed to get patched in And because Ernie was coming to town, we decided to wait and have Ernie give them their patches for the group. And he's always willing to do that. So there's some great videos on the Ghostbusters of San Antonio page where you can see our members getting patched in by the legend himself, Ernie Hudson. Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. All right. One last thing that I'm gonna kind of mention and talk about, and if you guys have any other thoughts on the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer, be sure to let us know in the comments below. One thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say this with a grain of salt because I don't want to get too ahead of myself, and I don't want to say anything that actually might not happen in the long run. So for folks who've been asking me for a while now, when is the next superhero Comic Con? You know who you are. Um, it's been brought up a few times online already, and I'm gonna be honest with everybody who's watching and who hears this later on. The last thing I heard was that we are still getting a superhero Comic Con and a Space Con this year. And I understand it's February, and usually the first event takes place in June, which is 4 months away. I get it. I would anticipate, and I don't have any confirmation of this. I would anticipate if any news is going to drop about the summer event that it's going to happen in February. It's usually what they do is they start telling folks like, "Hey, guess what? We're going to make an announcement soon. We're going to make an announcement soon." It's usually around February or like early March where they make like their first big announcement. Usually by now but usually I agree with folks by now they're saying online, "Hey, guess what? Our first announcement is going to be in February, or our first announcement is going to be March 1st." And I know you guys want to know. We also want to know, but we're willing to wait because the way this group works is less cancellations happen closer to the event. They make announcements closer to the event because they are locked in. If you make an announcement a year in advance with a celebrity, or 8 months in advance, or 6 months in advance, that has a greater chance of something happening, their schedule changing, and then a cancellation occurring. They don't want that because that's the thing that's most frustrating for attendees at these big conventions who are these are A-listers. So you're dropping $100 or more for a badge, and you're dropping two, three, $400 on photo ops and autographs, sometimes each, right? So, folks, be patient. I would say, and I would bet that an announcement is going to be coming soon in the next few weeks by the end of the month, if not the very first of March, early March. We're going to get some big announcements on dates and or some celebrity announcements. But I would bet they're already in the works. You excited for those, Dave?
Yeah, that's actually a really good strategy. They just announced Oscar Isaac today for Japan Celebration. I bought my photo op today. It's what 2 months away from that
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. And that's going to be fantastic. Oscar Isaac. Wow. Poe Dameron, baby. Ah.
Did you want to come with me to
You know
Japan,
what?
Chad?
I think I might just go ahead and do that, Dave. I think
We'll have 4 people in one photo with Oscar
I
Isaac.
might go ahead and do that. How long is that flight? 18 hours?
It's about 16
Hmm.
hours from South Texas to Japan, but it'll be
I
worth
think
it.
so. I hope you don't mind snoring on a plane for 16 hours.
Man, I probably snore louder than all y'all combined.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody, for the comments. Thanks for all the folks that came by Rudy's this weekend and donated to the puppy food drive. You guys did fantastic. Again, check out the interview with Ernie Hudson on countdowntothegeeks.com if you haven't already done so. We will see a bunch of you folks tomorrow night at the Love Hurts screening. And I'll also probably have a live stream, if not tomorrow, maybe Thursday, recapping the Ghostbuster event with Ernie, and I also have some additional footage with Ernie that I'm going to be sharing with a lot of folks out there. So, for the Countdown to the Geeks, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this reaction video and discussion video for Fantastic Four, the first episode, is the one on Super Dave.
Till next time, everyone.
Peace.